forge your inner armor.
Yeah, I've had some really cool experiences in golf. Been in Golf Magazine, worked with individual or assessed in individuals, number one in the world 4 or 5 times. It's a great group of athletes to work with. Lot different than a football player or a basketball player because there's so much. They all involve mental ability, but it's so much in golf, how much the mind is involved in it. And this is kind of also not just for golf, but it's for life in general. If you can imagine, you've got this prize, this trophy that you want to hoist in the air. To get to that prize, we have a plan, something that's going to work, whether we glean that from other individuals or from experiences or things that we study or become educated in. And so many coaches, so many players have great plans, and they have that willingness to prepare to win. They have that work ethic. But there's something that stands in between the great plan and the prize, and that is what I would call the processor. And the processor is the brain. And the ability to master and to command and control this processor is really the game changer in all this. It's what makes the plan, puts legs to the plans so that you can reach for that prize and actually obtain it. It's not always just the best plan wins or the person who's the most motivated, the person with the most work ethic. It's really how efficient is that processor, the brain. Our life is full of rhythms of ups and downs. There's high tide, there's low tide, there's night, there's day, there's all these rhythms. And then there's these things that come into our life that are completely unexpected. And you expect the ball to bounce a certain way and it bounces another way, okay? Because it just hit the wrong thing. And what are you going to do with that lie? The reactivity to that of the autonomic nervous system is the key component into how we're going to respond to that moment in time. And so the more we can control the nervous system that it stays balanced and doesn't get stuck in this sympathetic state. It's not just led or reacting to whatever the environment does, but it's doing the opposite. The environment can do anything that it wants to, but the nervous system is in complete control. It's kind of like working with special forces that are truly in life and death situations, but yet we're able to control what their hearts are doing, how their pupils are dilating or constricting, what's going on with blood flow, and keeping that all under control, even though the situation would say you should be out of control. It's the same type of training that needs to go into the golfer in order for them to manage the unpredictable, because it's really the unpredictable and how the people manage the unpredictable that define whether you get the prize or not. So it's that resilience, that ability to adapt, which is controlling what state the autonomic nervous system is in and keeping it out of this sympathetic state, which can cause the brain to light up with a lot of electrical current and cause the adrenaline to overproduce. You've got to be out there for 4 hours. The last thing you want is the HPA axis, that's hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal gland, that system to be overactivated because you can't sustain that energy for long periods of time. So it's all about commanding and controlling the autonomic nervous system. Imagine these it's like a bullseye with concentric circles. I can work with an outside ring, which is maybe my thoughts, or I can work with the physiology, which is a little further in, which has to do with my breathing and my heart rate variability and my adrenal release. Or I can even get to the core, which is the neurological response to what's going on. That's where it all starts. So it starts with the neurological and works out. A lot of times in golf, and I'm not opposed to it, but becomes a very cognitive therapy thing where you're dealing with an outer thought process or a visual imagery, which is good. But sometimes the situations create such a reaction in the nervous system that you're not really getting any headway with those thoughts. So we have to work with mastering the core, which is the neurological. So there's a great picture of me and Bryson DeChambeau at the BMW Classic, I think, a few years back. It was about 7 months before I think he won the US Open. But you'll see he's in a sand trap, and this is we're kind of practicing before he's going to go do his round. He's in the sand trap, and he has all these wires connected to him. And you're like, what are those wires? And if you look to the side in the picture, I'm standing up on the ridge of the sand trap, and I have a laptop, and I'm reading all these different variables in Bryson's body while he's in the sand trap. You can see the picture in the Golf Magazine, right? Well, why am I doing that? I'm doing that to give him feedback on, hey, your heart's racing too fast right now. Your skin temperature's off. Your breathing's off. Not in this situation, but with other golfers, I've literally had an EEG hooked to them, and we can look at their electrical activity in the brain while they're in the sand trap, or while they're walking down the green, or getting ready to hit the putt. And the key is keeping those variables under control, because once they get out of balance, then the racing thoughts start. Then the what ifs. What if this happens? And we create this ripple effect of anxiety that tends to escalate really fast. Or the what abouts. What about just happened? Or what's going on with this other situation, the golfer that's 3 holes back, right? But if I can control all those internal variables, it stops those thoughts before they happen. Anybody that's played golf and sat over a putt, you know what happens, right? Is you just overthink and you don't just do, right? And you're not present. You're someplace else, right? You're in the what ifs and the what abouts, and we just need to be present. And so we start by looking all at these neurological and physiological variables and teach the golfer how to control those in any situation.